And as for your ex-girlfriend, you needed therapy and tequila, and low was low, and it would go on and on. Now I understand why you're
sarcasm.
Now I understand why you're willing to put up with Donald Trump, because I hit that and I'm out the door.
Yeah, that sounds good when you're saying that. It's a good one-liner on what you're saying, but you still sound bitter and frustrated. Look what happened with a guy named Trevor Bauer.
That is just an insult.
It is. You're
not getting me. This is like being called a racist all day.
No, it's not. I'm not.
That's not an argument. I keep making arguments, and you keep saying you sound bitter. You got to come up with something other than you sound bitter.
Well, you do, though.
Patrick Bet David sat down with Ann Coulter, and the conversation quickly became heated and awkward as Patrick pressed her on some of her decisions and statements made on the PBD podcast. Ann Coulter found herself in panic mode multiple times during this intense debate with Patrick. In this clip from Valuetainment and the PBD podcast, watch as Patrick Bet David really puts the pressure on, making Ann Coulter squirm and get noticeably uncomfortable. Let's dive into this fiery exchange. And if you enjoy this content, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel to help us grow. Let's check it out.
Have you ever been married before or no?
Mm-mm.
Did you ever get close to getting married?
Mm-hmm.
So
this is getting a little personal.
But I'm gonna ask a different, and I'm gonna ask you from.
And by the way, again, I think this is sexist. Oh, the Christie point, when I was for Christie, they'd all say, "Oh, chubby chaser." I didn't even know what that meant. It's like girls who like fat guys to have sex with. No, this isn't a sexual thing. I want a wall. My social life is fine.
No, that's not what I'm asking. But the part I'm asking is. When you're saying this is getting kind of personal, it's a question. You don't have to answer it. You can simply say, I don't want to talk about it. I'm totally okay with that. No, I feel certain people are very hard to please.
I'm not hard to please.
Well, let me make my point. So, for example, I've had relationships
this is the craziest thing I've ever heard. He runs on building a wall. 4 years he doesn't build a wall.
No, it's fine.
Oh, you demand everything.
No, but I would
can't please this woman. Are you mad?
No, I'm not. I'm not mad. I'm just watching you.
Listen to his question.
So for me, I feel like there are certain people that you have to be very careful. Because they're either super gung-ho about you, and like I've dated girls where relationship was unfreaking believably high peak. The peak was so high, it doesn't make any sense, right, on how high the peak was. Like, this is going to be freaking insane. But dude, talk about the low. The low was painful. You needed 15 therapists and friends and sponsored by tequila and vodka and whiskey to be able to tolerate the shitty low you would go through with this girl. And I'm like, I can't tolerate this shit. And I've been around the block. I'm like you when you were talking. Well, first I wanted this girl. So I wasn't the innocent one. Eventually, I'm like, dude, I'm shutting it down. This is it. I want to build a family. I want to have a different kind of a life. And I never thought I was going to get married. I thought I was going to stay single for the rest of my life because no one was going to make me happy. And then I sat there and I said, is it going to be 100% of everything across the board, and then that's it? Is it going to be like, they have to give me, that's it? And then I'm not going to look at all the other stuff? You're clinging on one thing that I'm also not happy about. I wanted the border. I'm also not happy about that. By the way, a lot of the things he ran on, he should have done all of that stuff. He has to answer that question.
This is spot on. There are people like Ann Coulter who won't be satisfied with a presidential candidate or a president unless they fulfill every single promise they made during their campaign. On the surface, that seems fair. It makes sense to expect a president to deliver on their commitments. But in reality, that almost never happens. Politicians often make promises they can't keep or say things just to get elected, even if they know full well they won't be able to follow through. Many of us, myself included, have come to terms with the fact that no president will ever check every box or fulfill all their campaign promises. So, we end up choosing the lesser of two evils. But there are people like Ann Coulter, as Patrick Bet David pointed out, who refuse to settle for anything less than exactly what was promised. Ann feels betrayed by Trump because he didn't build the border wall as he vowed to do, despite other accomplishments like his Supreme Court justice appointments, which were significant wins. especially for someone with Ann's views. Yet, because Trump didn't fulfill that one major promise, Ann Coulter isn't as enthusiastic about him as she once was. She's not necessarily anti-Trump, but she's definitely not as supportive as before. On the other hand, there are those of us who understand that no president will ever be able to deliver on everything. We just have to find the candidate who aligns most closely with our values, even if it's not perfect. What do you think? Am I wrong on this? Let me know in the comments. Ultimately, it's about finding a leader who does more of what you support than what you oppose.
Someone like you has to give that question to a moderator in the what do you call it, in the presidential election that's coming up. Someone has to pose that question. I want to know what his answer is going to be. I'd like to see some other people that are his friends ask questions like that, A. Hannity and others, to actually ask those questions, because I want to know. But at the same time, I don't know if any presidential candidate is going to be able to please Ann Coulter for 8 years. I don't think that's possible, because I think that person is going to have to do everything you want them to do to win your favor, and it is so attractive to get your support, because during the election there were certain people that are superstars that played a role of Trump winning in 2016. I think you're one of them. I think Kellyanne Conway was one of them.
She didn't support him until 2 months before the election. She was Cruz.
But I thought she played her role in those 2 months. I think she crushed it when she was.
She didn't show up and defend him for Access Hollywood. Ann did.
I understand. Again, I'm not putting you guys against each other on who's more than the other one. Your method of going out there and going after the enemy, you're fearless. You scare the crap out of the enemy. You're not a person that people sit there and like. You make people on the other side shake.
Yep.
Okay, so you played a role, she played a role, other people played a role, okay? But then we come to now, you're clinging on one thing, okay?
It's more than one thing.
Then unpack it if you're saying it's more than one thing. If you're saying it's more than just a border, what else
a couple things. The reason I mentioned Kellyanne isn't, and don't pull this, Seinfeld, catfight, isn't to say, no, I was for Trump a few weeks after he announced. And what I have noticed... You
were the first to make it clear. Everybody knows that.
And did you guys know this guy in 2015? Because I want confirmation on this point.
Adam, you did.
Okay. Yeah. You're going to answer this.
No, Tom did, yeah.
A lot of us who supported... Every single person I know who supported Trump in 2015, and everyone hated us for it. But a lot of my friends did. I mean, after LA, you see what the problem is before a lot of the rest of the country. I don't know one person who supported Donald Trump in 2015 who supports him now, who isn't betrayed. The people who support him now are the Johnny-come-latelys who absolutely opposed him. They were for Cruz, they were for Rubio, they didn't care about anything that Trump was running on. And then, oh, screw it, he's the nominee. Let's see if we can get tax cuts out of him. They think it's magic that he won because they never understood why he won, because they never understand, and it's not just one issue. It's whether our country continues to exist is the issue. And as for your ex-girlfriend, you needed therapy and tequila, and low was low, and it would go on and on and on. Now I understand why you're
sarcasm.
Now I understand why you're willing to put up with Donald Trump, because I hit that and I'm out the door.
Yeah, that sounds good when you're saying that. It's a good one-liner on what you're saying, but you still sound bitter and frustrated. Look what happened with a guy named Trevor Bauer.
That is just an insult.
It is. You're
not getting me. This is like being called a racist all day.
No, it's not. I'm not.
That's not an argument. I keep making arguments, and you keep saying you sound bitter. You got to come up with something other than you sound bitter.
Well, you do, though. You do. So.
Let me know if I'm being a fence sitter here, but I can see both sides of this debate. I have a lot of respect for Patrick Bet-David, and I appreciate many of Ann Coulter's viewpoints too. I agree that now isn't the time to be anti-Trump. We need to focus on making sure Kamala Harris doesn't win the next election. Trump, for all his flaws, still seems like the best choice for the country right now. And I agree with Patrick on that front. Patrick has consistently stood firm on supporting Trump, arguing that since Trump backs pro-Israel and anti-foreign aid stances, we should align with him. While I don't always agree with this approach, I get where he's coming from. On the other hand, Ann Coulter makes a valid point. Trump today isn't the same as the Trump of 2016. He's noticeably softer, and I think many of us see that. There were standout moments like when he famously stood up and declared, "Fight, fight, fight." Those were powerful, iconic moments. But overall, the current Trump isn't as bold or uncompromising as he once was. Whether it's his stance on dissolving Project 25, his comments on IVF, or his shifting views on abortion laws, it's clear that he's not the same hardliner we saw in 2016. I'm not criticizing his potential alliances with figures like RFK or Tulsi Gabbard. That could actually be a good move. But there's a noticeable shift in his overall approach that's hard to ignore. So I get Ann's frustrations. In many ways, I share them. But I also see Patrick's side, emphasizing the need for unity over division at this critical moment. Without that unity, things could go south quickly if Kamala Harris wins. If Trump doesn't secure this election, it could spell trouble for both the country and the world. What do you think? Let me know in the comments whose side you're on.
Do you know what happened with Trevor Bauer? Do you know this guy named Trevor Bauer? Okay. So, Tom, did you see what happened with Trevor Bauer yesterday with the story?
Wait a second. I didn't get an answer. Did he support Trump in 2015? Well, 2015, not 2016.
Whether it's him, I will say this. You said something actually very shocking that we should address. You're saying you don't know one person who supported Trump in 2015, 2016 that is still with him today.
I'm in my circle, yeah.
That's
a whole different
circle.
Yeah. How big is your circle?
What difference does it make? What are you going to say?
Ann has a big circle. It's not a small circle. She's got contacts from everywhere.
Nobody's denying that. We know who Ann Coulter is. Okay, so let's say it's a couple hundred. Let's say it's a couple thousand. Let's say it's 10,000.
Okay, even publicly, I can't think of anyone.
I know so many people that were with him in 2016 that are unanimously still with him today. And don't believe me?
2015.
Don't believe me?
I said 2015.
15, 16, what's the difference?
It's a huge difference.
What do you mean?
We supported him for the issues and what he was saying. You guys wanted Jeb. You would have been perfectly happy with Jeb.
I'm saying the people
and he governed like
that
Jeb.
voted for him.
No, that's not what I... Do you understand what I said? There's a reason that I'm saying 2015 and not 2016. Obviously, people who supported him in 2016... Who else would it be? The people who voted him against him in 2016?
No, what you're asking about is in 2015 when he declared, and we still had Cruz, Jeb, Rubio, and a cast of thousands. All of them. Right? And some of them hadn't even fully declared yet, right?
All
the gold
through
rush
2015. Happened. Fox 100% against him. Murdoch against him. Wall Street Journal against him.
Did you support him when he declared in 2015 and where you had this slate? And to your point about name recognition, everybody thought that Jeb was going to roll. And at Thanksgiving...
$140 million, they won.
Yep.
At Thanksgiving 2015, all the money in the PACs was behind Jeb. Pledge, not donated, but pledge. He had it all. So you're saying, were you behind Trump 2015? I'll say I wasn't. I was beginning of 16. Soon as I saw him picking people off, soon as I saw what he was able to do, I said, that cat's is going to keep picking these people off. And so,
could I say?
So I was early 16, but I see what you mean. It's like when he declared, were you with him and saying, "This is my guy"? Or
not just June 15th. I'm giving you 6 months to come around. He kept talking about immigration, and I would add that you think he's a good debater because, and I looked this up and wrote about this recently on Substack too. It's easy to forget because he did kind of change the whole campaign, sort of changed the landscape. Republicans are afraid to say some of the stuff they used to say. Everyone on that debate stage with him was open borders. And they were all attacking him when he came out for the Muslim ban. Paul Ryan, the rest of them, that's not who we are. So he was being attacked specifically the same way DeSantis does the right thing on COVID, and he's being attacked, and he stands strong. Trump was standing strong. All the rest of them were attacking him. That's the 215 landscape for you. Those of you who didn't support him in 2015 don't give a crap about immigration. You want a tax cut. So congratulations, you got your tax cuts. But those of us who supported him for the issues he ran on that set him apart from every other candidate say he failed.
You're talking about the early adopters.
Well, because
6 months you have.
Well, and take somebody like me because I'm the average Joe, military veteran, family, legal immigrants, brother and sister, military veterans as well. I could honestly have cared less about Trump. You know, you're fired, all that. I could never care less. The personality when he was on stage, when he started going at people, then I started becoming more attracted because I'm like, okay, he's funny, he's witty. I'm a comedian myself. But then I think once seeing what they did with, you know, the collusion, the Russia, and that he risked, and I got into it with Steve Schmidt big time, where I was like, because he's just Lincoln Project, it's all BS. I go, this guy sacrificed everything, wittingly or not wittingly, pulled back the curtain and let us all see what they were doing. So it's like almost like we want him, and again, I'm saying for us because these are the people that you guys were talking about. It's almost we have to because it's not fair what they did, and we want him to go again. The ISIS he destroyed. To me, he tried with the wall. They wouldn't let him because of, you know, racism. He's racist, Mexicans, all that stuff. I'm that average person that's like, I'm sticking with the guy that I went for the first time, and I want to see him try to accomplish all those things the second time because from the beginning it wasn't fair. I'm that average person that was with him from 2015 because once I started seeing him, I was like, it's Trump. I'm from New York. You're from New York, right? And I wanted that guy to win. So it's like, I'm that average person that's still sticking with him to this day. It's weird. I'm that guy. I'm that guy that you guys keep talking about because I'm like, everything's, they're cheating. They're actively cheating right now. In New York, this case, the judge is smiling and laughing in the camera. It's all political. It's all to destroy the guy. I get what you're saying. And trust me, I'm 100% pro-wall. I'm 100% pro-military. I want all the soldiers that are just hanging out here and they're not deployed anywhere, put them on the border. I want armed people at the border to secure us. And I mean, and I feel you in that sense that they did fail, but all the other stuff, we can't deny all the other stuff that he did. He did a lot.
And Coulter has every right to be disappointed with Trump's first term and the direction he's heading now. I agree that he's become too soft lately, and his recent actions, like disavowing Project 25, have left many of his supporters confused. The project itself isn't that extreme, so it's puzzling why he's distancing himself so much from it. It seems like the name alone is causing unnecessary backlash. A major appeal of Trump has always been that he's not a career politician, but a businessman. While that was a big reason people voted for him, it also caused significant issues during his first term. He didn't have the political experience to navigate Washington's complexities and often picked the wrong people to work with, like Mike Pence and others who didn't fully support his agenda. This lack of political savvy meant he couldn't always see who would be loyal and who would undermine his efforts, like building the wall. So while his outsider status was appealing, it also backfired in some ways and prevented him from achieving some of his promises. And Coulter's frustrations are valid, but I don't think that should necessarily stop people from supporting Trump in the upcoming election. He's had the experience of being president now, and hopefully he's learned the importance of choosing the right team and aligning with those who truly support his vision. What are your thoughts on the debate between Patrick Bet-David and Ann Coulter? It was definitely an intense exchange that got personal at times, but who do you think had the stronger arguments? Is Ann Coulter justified in her criticisms of Trump, or do you side more with Patrick Bet-David's perspective? Share your opinions in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel to stay updated with more content like this.